Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So we're back with Windwalkers, Conduits, and Soulbinds. This video is not going to be nearly as long as the Brewmaster one, because I'm not going to go over all 12 Soulbinds available in the game at this time. We're just going to touch on the best ones for each covenant, and then we're also going to look first at the Conduits that are going to be good that you want to be targeting as a Windwalker monk, all in the Endurance, Finesse, and Potency Soulbinds. As you see, I've got them here in front of me now. Before we get into all of that though, guys, as always with YouTube videos, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Definitely helps me out a lot. It costs you nothing to give me the support that I'm looking for as I continue to try and grow this. For those of you that have already subscribed to the channel, I truly appreciate it. It's definitely been quite cool to kind of open up my YouTube almost every day and see something, either a comment or a new subscriber, and I appreciate that every single day. You can also follow me on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/works_BAA. As you can see right above me, I've got a goal to get to 20 followers on the Twitch channel by the end of the month of March. So definitely help me reach that. I think they're 12 or 13, yeah, 12 right now. So definitely help me reach that as well, where I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, with raid nights being Wednesday and Thursday as my guild is progressing through her heroic Castle Nathria. So join us there and kind of watch us progress through, stumble through, and see basically how my guild is. But let's get into the conduits. So for Windwalker Monk, we'll start at the top with Endurance Conduits. The best one is going to be Harm Denial. Harm Denial, Expel, it just increases Expel Harm's healing. Use Expel Harm basically on cooldown as a Windwalker Monk. So this is going to be a really good one to give you that extra heal while you're generating your chi points. So, and if you're only running one Endurance Conduit, this is the one that you want. The second one that's really good is Fortifying Ingredients. Makes your defensive cooldown even better by giving you a shield that increases with the higher ranks that you get. So if you're in that pinch and you got to use Fortifying Brew, it's going to grant you that 15% extra health plus an extra, potentially 12 to 15% shield. So it's going to be a big boon to your defensive abilities. Just a really good endurance conduit. The rest of these aren't all that good. Celestial Effervescence and Evasive Stride are for Brewmaster monks. Grounding Breath, you're not going to be really casting Vivify all that often in a raid or even a Mythic Plus scenario. Plus this has a 1-minute internal cooldown, so even getting the refund, the 30 energy, is not even going to be that big of a deal. Let's move on to Finesse Conduits. Like the Brewmaster Monk, really you can pick all 4 of these. I always default to Dizzying Tumble, just because helping out my tank, getting extra mitigation through leg sweep, causing people to, not stun them, and then also causes them to take X% less damage. So definitely really good for helping out the tank, and if you're tanking yourself, if you happen to off-spec Brewmaster, very good as well. Lingering Numbness can be good for kiting purposes. Swift Transference, give you a little bit of movement speed when you need to transfer out somewhere, like on Hungering Destroyer. If you can transfer out, you get that extra movement speed. On Artificer, if you transference to avoid Annihilation, you can do that. Tumbling Technique, getting as many rolls as possible. Rolls fun, do it. All right, for the potency conduits, we're going to talk about the 3 Windwalker ones that are good for no matter what covenant, and then there are 2 covenant ones that are actually pretty good that you want to go after as well. So first is Calculated Strikes. This is great for AoE. Spinning Crane Kick deals extra damage by starting at 10%, on top of the 10% that the Spinning Crane debuff. I don't remember the exact name of the debuff off the top of my head right now, but that gives you 10% baseline on your Spinning Crane Kick, plus you get Spinning Crane Kick through Calculated Strikes, an extra 10% to start, so it's 20. Plus if you Dance of Chi-Ji, if you talent that gives you another 200% damage on those procs, so you're getting 220, potentially as much as 234% extra damage on Spinning Crane Kick. It makes you an AoE monster if you can set it all up right. The other one that's very good for single target is Coordinated Offensive. If you have Storm, Earth, and Fire, your spirits fixate on the same target. They deal 10% extra damage at space and then go up from there. If you happen to talent Serenity, which right now there's not really a reason to, then you want to go, then it just deals bonus damage on Serenity. But like I said, you really shouldn't be talenting Serenity. It's Whirling Dragon Punch in that row pretty much all the time. So we go from there. And then a third one that's okay but not great is Inner Fury. Fist of Fury damage increased by, this says 4 to 9%. Fist of Fury, people think Battle for Azeroth, it was like the highest damaging ability. but it got buffed a lot by things like open palm strikes Azurite traits that are no longer in the game. So for Fist of Fury, its damage profile is like the main damage dealing ability has dropped. It's still top 2 right there with Rising Sun Kick, but it's not going to be as prominent as you need. So if we still had open palm strikes and stuff like that, Inner Fury, probably the number 1 Azurite trait, and then you just switch off between calculated strikes and coordinated offensive as you need it. But with the current status of Fist of Fury, it's just not really going to be there. Alright, and the 2 for the Covenants that are good, if you're Kyrian, Strike with Clarity gives you 5 more seconds duration on your Weapons of Order, and then gives you an extra bonus Mastery from 4 to 10%, or excuse me, 1 to 3% for Windwalker. It's very low for Windwalker, but the 5 seconds duration increase on Weapons of Order is very good. Getting as many allows you to get even more Rising Sun Kicks into the mix and get that extra Mastery, boost all of the abilities. So for Kyrian, very good. You want to use this. If you're Kyrian, you want to run this in almost every situation. The other one that's good is Bone Marrow Hops for Necrolords. Gives you big boost to Bone Dust Brew damage, and then you get a cooldown reduction. It's not nearly as powerful as the Brewmaster one because of the brew mechanic for Brewmaster Monk, but still getting half a second cooldown reduction on a 1 minute cooldown. You know, you're looking at it potentially getting down, I'd say, to around like 50 seconds. So still pretty good. Also heals, can do healing as well. So it's just overall a very, very useful ability. This one you want to use definitely first because 40% damage at rank 1 is insane. So in all situations, you want to use Bone Marrow Hops. It's obviously very good on multi-target, but also very good single target. So those are the potency conduits. So for Venthyr and for Night Fae, as of right now, you want to work around coordinated offensive and calculated strikes. For Night Fae in particular, Way of the Fae may become very good with the upcoming changes to Phalanx Stomp in patch 9.0.5. Same with Venthyr, there's a buff to the damage of Fallen Order. I don't know if it's going to make these two good, but something to keep an eye out on. We'll follow up if some things change. So let's get into the Soulbind calculator, and we're going to start with Kyrians. So for Kyrians, your best one is Pelagos because of combat meditation, giving you bonus mastery. Windwalkers like mastery. You want to come in here with Strike with Clarity into Focusing Mantra. Getting extra cooldown on file is never a bad thing. Into Harm Denial. Here you can pick whichever you want. I always go for the materials because extra gold. Provide stuff to the guild, send it to the alts, whatever the case may be. And then here you take calculated strikes or coordinated offensive depending on situation. Here you can choose either one of these. For rating purposes, you probably want to go here. For Mythic Plus purposes, you'd want to go over here and take whatever finesse conduit you need. And then Let Go of the Past is also very good because our mastery incentivizes us not to repeat abilities. We're basically always going to have a 3% magic damage reduction. So good strong offensive ability with combat meditation, double potency, double endurance in rating situations, and also good defensive with Let Go of the Past, getting that magic damage resistance. Clea is okay, but the problem is that you only get one potency conduit because Bearer's Pursuit is really bad. Pointed Courage is good, Valiant Strikes is good, but we don't really push for crit. So everyone's favorite blue boy Pelagos is going to be your choice. You can go Clea as a backup, but Clea is actually better for Brewmaster and for Mistweaver than Pelagos is. So if you're off-specking into other specs of Monk, you're pretty safe with Pelagos for your Windwalker. Into Night Fae, we want Naya. Grove Invigoration, giving you, extra mastery. When you Night Fae Stomp, you get 12% or 12 stacks. So this increases, basically, health and mastery for 30 seconds. You get this pretty high. And then you go here into your coordinative offensive and to run without tiring, getting, good health regen in situations where you maybe have to deal with a raid mechanic, or if you are traveling between packs and Mythic Plus, you can do this to let your healer get a little bit of health from respite from having to heal you. Into Dizzying Tumble. Here you go Nature Splendor or Swift Patrol. Either one of these are fine. Nature Splendor, always good. Leather, Meat, and Fish. Meat and Fish in particular are always going to be good because for feasts. And then you go Harm Denial. And then here you can do this one. Her Poison for interrupts, but it's situational. Naya's tools, her burrs, though, are very good. So here I'd go fortifying ingredients into burrs for Windwalker and for raid. You can consider a second potency going making this calculated strikes and then going coordinated offensive here and doing the poison, but it requires a lot of interrupts, so you're going to be basically having to make sure you're interrupting something on cooldown for it to be worth it. So I generally go this route. The other one decent is Corin, but much more defensive setup, but face your foe, good for world questing. What I was thinking about is first strike, so you'd have to go double endurance, sacrifice the potency conduit. It's a decent backup, but Corin, very good for Brewmaster. Dreamweaver, spoilers, good for Mistweaver, and Naya, good for Windwalker. So if you're Night Fae, you have really good, strong, separated Soulbinds that don't impact you all that much. For my Covenant, the Necrolords, you want Emeni. Actually, Emeni's good, lead by example is good, but because you don't use Bone Dust Brew as often as you do with like Brewmaster Monk, this is not as good as you think it would be. So Emeni, a good choice, but not the best choice. That would be this wonderful lady, Bonesmith Ymir. Forgeborn Reveries gives you a permanent 3% agility boost because you should always be enchanting items, and it includes things like the Shadowlands Gathering Gloves enchant, something that is very easy to do, so you get up to 3%. I'd like to maybe see this boosted to 4, but it is what it is. And then the On Death thing is good for progression, could potentially help you go here. So here you want Bone Marrow Hops into Resourceful Fleshcrafting. This is getting changed in 9.0.5 because Fleshcraft as a whole is getting overhauled. So this is going to become, I think, even better. This is not good for Windwalker Monks. Brewmaster, it's good. You could definitely argue it, but go here. Then you get your Finesse Conduit into the Satchel, into your Harm Denial, and then you want all three of these are not great. His power really comes from here. So when in doubt, always go double Potency Conduit, so Coordinated Offensive Calculated Strikes, and then you get this little bit of movement speed, damaging below 35. So on a raid boss, if you have to do a mechanic while they're in execute phase, this helps you get a little bit of movement speed to deal with that mechanic so that you can get back a little bit faster. So it's just very good, and you can use this to your advantage. So like on Zymox, if you have to do portals, for example, that you can get away a little bit faster so you can stay on the boss for that extra second or two, allow you to get that tiny bit more damage before you have to go run and do the mechanic. So Bonesmith Ymir for Windwalker Monk in Necrolords, and many a good backup. Plague Divisor Marilith is going to be an interesting one because with Fleshcraft getting overhauled, he's got a lot of potential to possibly be the best one, but we're still waiting on PTR obviously to come through, and we want to take a look and see what we can get out of that. For Venthyr, you want Nadja. Here the haste is good. You get your Coordinative Offensive into Agent of Chaos. This is good for Mythic Plus. Get that early Disorient, and then you can do a leg sweep. So you get 6 seconds of Disorient into a leg sweep, which is another 4 or 5 seconds with the Dizzying Tumble. They do a lot of reduced damage. It's just going to be very, very strong control in Mythic Plus. Friends in Low Places is whatever, but you get Harm Denial. And then here, actually, you want to go Exacting Preparation. So you are going to go double defensive. This is not the greatest one. Theotar doesn't really have much. Draven is more set up for tanks. So this is going to be one here that you want to really go with. Just left and then straight down the rest of the way. Theotar does have some potential with Soothing Shade, boosting Mastery, but it doesn't move with you, so that's a little bit of a problem. And Token of Appreciation is pretty good, giving you a little bit of shield. When your healers heal you, giving them a little bit more defensive, so that's pretty strong as well. But Nadja is going to be the best one, and just taking this path here. So that's the Covenant and Soulbinds for Windwalker Monk. So to recap, for Venthyr, if you're a Venthyr, you want to go with Nadja. For Necrolord, you want Bonesmith Ymir. For Night Fae, you want Naya. And for Kyrian, Pelagos. So we're doing Mistweaver Monk next. That'll probably come out next week, because I'm doing basically Monk Monday, as my guild jokingly calls it, because all my Monk videos are released on a Monday. So I'll be doing that one coming out next week, maybe even later this week, just to throw them off and have some fun with it. So be on the lookout for that video coming. So until that one, everyone, I hope you all stay safe. I hope you all wear your masks, and I will see you next time.